Namaste. I'm Simone and I'm with the Yoga Institute. Today, let us talk about how good things take time, how we need to trust the process. So, in today's day and age, right, we want everything in an instant. Instant noodles, instant coffee, immediate success, all that is there, and we don't spend time on anything. But if we want something that is lasting, we also need to put time into that, especially our relationships, our career, our self-development, our growth. So we can't be in this rushed kind of mentality that we are in, wanting that instant results, instant gratification. So what to do? We need to remind ourselves of the root of everything that lies at the bottom, and that is Shraddha or faith, right? The faith that everything will fall into line, that everything will be okay. But where do we get this faith from? And first of all, what all can we have faith in? Well, let's look at the words of one of the commentators on the Yoga Sutras, Vachaspati Mishra. He said that Shraddha is the root of yoga. So if we establish that faith, even our yoga practice will be on a very, very firm foundation. But how do we build up this faith? And what should we do? So let's look at what we can have faith in. First of all, there's ourselves. I can have faith in myself. I can have faith in the path that I have chosen. I can have faith in a higher reality. I can have faith in life more than anything, right? That everything will work out, everything is there, nature is there, Prakriti is there to support me. That is very important. How to build that faith? Well, on the asana side, what we can do is backward bending asanas. Why backward bending asanas, you may ask? And how does this make such a profound difference? Well, think about it. If you're bending backwards, you cannot see where you're going. So you need to have that faith in the path that you have chosen, in the fact that you will not fall, that you will not go somewhere where you don't want to go. So even a simple thing like that, backward bending, can build up that faith. We can also remind ourselves of past successes. And talking about successes, achievable goal setting is very important. Sometimes we set goals that are way out there, that are not achievable. They're too big. In other words, we need to break down one big goal into smaller ones. And that way we will have that small success. Right away we feel good about ourselves, and that also strengthens our Aishwarya Bhav, right? Self-reliance. For example, let's say I want to lose 5 kgs in 1 month. That is really a big goal, and most likely I will not succeed, right? So what can I do? I can look at my food intake and say, okay, with lunch, instead of 2 chapatis and rice, I will have only 1 chapati and half the amount of rice that I usually eat. Right? That is more achievable. And at the end of the day, I can check this off my list. I will feel good about myself. And in no time, I will see the desired results. So achievable goals is one thing, believing in oneself. Another technique that we can use to build our faith is Swadhyaya. What is Swadhyaya? Self-study. That means 2 things. Looking at ourselves, observing ourselves. Who am I? What am I doing? Am I this body? Am I this mind? Taking a good close look. What are my habits? What are my likes, dislikes? Who do I associate with? Finding out more things about myself. That is one thing that gives me a whole lot of information, and that way also builds the faith in what I have achieved, the person I have become, what I am not. The second part of Swadhyaya is finding out what is the self with the capital S. That self, that Purusha part of ourselves, that is permanent. What is this permanent part of myself? And most of us will have a problem connecting with that self because it's not obvious. I cannot use my senses. I cannot see it. I cannot touch it. I cannot taste it. I cannot smell it. It's just not there. So what do? Luckily, we have scriptures. We can read the scriptures we can find out what was said in the scriptures about that self. And then we can process that information and see if that makes sense to us, if we can find that self, if we can see it in maybe small instances in our life. So that is the second part of self-study, Swadhyaya. And with that, we can build our faith. Before we're closing, one food for thought. If you're thinking your faith is pretty strong, then let me ask you that question. Is there anything you worry about in life? Or is there nothing? Are you completely worry-free? Well, if you said, yes, there are some worries, then think about how deep is that faith really? Because if it was that unshakable faith, there was no reason to worry. But most of us, yes, we do worry. So it is very common, but there is no reason really to do so if our faith is really deep and unshakable. Namaste.